Good day everyone, my name is Heather, aka a future advocate, and welcome to our YouTube channel. So today we are going to learn under Learning Unit 2 under the topic Law and Rights. Right, so I'm going to give you 7 learning outcomes of this learning unit. So we are going to explain what a right is, we're going to explain the dual relationship of a right involves. I'm also going to identify and explain and provide examples of 4 classes or kind of rights in terms of private law. We are also going to identify, explain, and provide examples of the object of each of the 4 classes or the kind of rights in terms of private law. We are also going to describe the term, legal subject, and legal object. And then we are going, second last, we are going to explain the connection between law and rights and give examples of that connection. And last, we are going to identify and explain other meanings of the right. Right? Okay, so we're going to first start by the definition of right. So right is a way which we relate to one another and a legal object. So if I have a car is known as a legal object. I have a relationship with that car because it is mine, right? And also I have, so right, it's a way that I relate to a legal object and to other legal subjects, right? So that is literally the definition. Of right. So now we're going to talk about the dual relationship of a right that it involves. So we have 2 dual relationships of a right. So the first one, it's a relationship between a legal subject and a legal object of the right, and then the second one is a relationship between the legal subject, who is the holder of that right, and other legal subject, right? So the legal subjects have the rights. The legal subjects, like which is me and you, we have a right against one another in respect of the object of their right. Right? Okay, so I just also want to explain what a legal subject is before we move forward. So a legal subject is a person who is subject to the norms of the law, and also who also may be the bearer or the holder of the rights and duties. So also it is important for us to know that the person does not only refer to a human being, which is me and you, or natural persons, but also it also refers to juristic persons. That means that association or bodies or people, for example, entities, companies, those are other people or other legal subjects, right? And then a legal object now, it's anything that is of economic value to a person, right? So a car, it is a car, a painting, anything that is economic value to you, right? So now we are going to distinguish between 4 kinds of rights. So we have real rights, which is an object and thing, and under real rights we have also ownership, pledge, and servitude, right? So but we are going to first explain what is real rights. So real rights are the rights to physical and material things, something that we can touch, a pen, a cow, a car, a house, anything that you can touch, that is called a real right, right? So although the object of a real thing is always a thing, the real rights themselves will be called, for example, rights to ownership, rights to pledge, right to servitude. So under real rights we have rights to ownership, rights to pledge, and rights to servitude. So we are also going to dive into that and explain what is ownership, what is pledge, and what is servitude, right? So first one is ownership. In the case of ownership, the owner of the property may freely use her property. If the owner of that property wants to destroy, alienate, that person has that right. So the rights of the ownership have unlimited rights to a legal object that she or he owns. Okay, so that I think that is the best that I can explain that. Right, and then we have the second one, we have a pledge. So when we pledge something, we give movable things as security for a debt. For example, a person may give a horse to someone whom she owes money as a security for the debt. So when she says that, when she pays the debt, she'll get the horse back. So the pledge is to give something to show that I will pay back whatever that I owe, right? And also you must note that the powers of a pledgee over the pledged things are limited, right? So for example, if I owe someone money and I give them my car, they have no right to sell my car, which means that the right that they have to that legal object, it is limited, right? And now we're also going to delve into the last right under real rights, which is servitude. So an example of a servitude is the right of way one person has given over the land of another person, right? For example, I have my land to the, let's say I have my land to the west and my neighbor have a land to the east. And then it so happens that to the east is where there is a well, on the other side there is a well where my cows can fetch water, can get water and grass and food there. So if now my neighbor give me a permission to go through her or his land so that I can get that water, so that my cows can get something to eat, now that is called servitude. I think that is the way that I can explain it. And also you must note that the servitude holder, like the pledgee, has a limited real right, which means that you can't misuse the right that you have to use the way. You can't use it for other reasons, or so if you are given a right to use the land to go on to the other side, you must use it only for that particular reason, right? So the second one, now we have personality right, which is my favorite. So personality rights are rights each one of us has parts of our person and personality. For example, of these rights are the right to physical integrity, which is that I have a right to my own body. No one is allowed to abuse me or to force themselves on myself. And also we have a right to good name and reputation. So if someone damages your reputation, you have a right to sue them for defamation of character, right? And also we have a right to honor. So under personality rights, one thing that I have picked up is under personality rights, the rights that I mentioned, they are fundamental rights, are basic rights that I mentioned in the Bill of Rights, under Constitution of under the Republic of the Constitution in Section 2, right? Anyway, so now we're going to our third right, which is intellectual property right. So intellectual property rights relate to the creation of human mind. A work of art, invention, and trademarks are example of an object of intellectual property rights, which means that these rights are also sometimes called immaterial rights. So that is another name for intellectual property right. So that means copyright over what so if I have a work of art, which means I am the owner of that, I must put a copyright to show that I am the owner of the work of art that I have created, so that no one can steal it from me. Because if I don't copyright it, anyone can steal it, right? So that means that copyright over what an author has written is an example of immaterial right. That is why it is against law to copy any other person's artwork or songs and present it as your own creation. So you can be prosecuted for that, right? And the last one is personal right. Personal right is a right to performance. It's a right to performance. So this one I am going to give an example the way I am going to explain it. Okay, let me just scroll down for my notes. Okay, so personal right, it's a right to performance. So for example, let's say me and you, we have entered into an agreement and we have signed a contract. I want to buy a car from you, so we entered into agreement that you are going to sell me a car and then I'm going to pay you. Now the performance that we are going to do is you're going to deliver the car to me and then I'm going to pay you. So that is the right to performance. We perform. The performance that you do is to deliver me the car, and the performance that I do is to pay for the car. So that is the performance. right? And also now we are going to talk about other meaning of the term right. So there are many different meanings of the term right, and it is used very differently in everyday language, right? Okay, so we sometimes use the word right in yet another way. We say, for instance, that someone has a right to appear in court, right? Okay, so before we go further, a right to appear in court is known as capacity right, right? So I just want you to always know that, so that when you see this question, a right to appear in court, and then you're given a multiple choice, so that you know that it is also known as capacity right. So as I was reading, we say, for instance, that someone has the right to appear in court or the right to enter into a contract. This is obviously not a right in the way that you have explained above, right? So we say that there must be a legal subject, in other words, the holder of the right, and what we have a right to is called a legal object, right? So then when we speak of the right to appear in court or the right to enter into a contract, there is no legal object or legal relationship with other people involved. So here we are speaking of an ability which is the law gives a person in accordance to which his status or legal standing, right? So it is usually indicated by the technical term capacity, as I have explained above. So I think that is all for learning unit. That is all for learning unit 2, and I hope that you have enjoyed this lesson. And if you have any questions for learning unit 2, please comment below and ask anything, and I will surely help you. And if you're in need of any study material for introduction to law, I will provide, but unfortunately I can't upload them on YouTube due to copyright. I don't want to get a strike on YouTube, but I really hope that you have enjoyed this lesson, and I hope that you have learned a lot. Please don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and share to other people, so that we may share this knowledge, so that we can all pass. You are the generation of advocates, attorneys. So I really hope that you have enjoyed this lesson, and God bless you.